So hey everyone, this is my quiz review for quiz 5. So the question I chose was question number 10. Um, Pete has 50 acres of land. He runs a sanctuary for retired zoo and circus animals. He has all the permits required to lawfully run his sanctuary on his land. And unknowingly to Pete, one of his giraffes likes to extend its long neck over the south border fence and snag oranges from Pete's neighbor's orange grove. Does the neighbor have a cause of action against Pete? And so as you guys can see, I did not get this question correct. On both attempts, I put probably so. Um, and on both attempts, I got them wrong. So I'm pretty sure now the answer has to be probably not, but we don't really know I don't really know the reason why. So probably so because taking someone else's property is conversion. Conversion is defined as an overt act to deprive the owner of possession of personal property with no intention of returning the property, thereby causing injury or harm. In this case, there wasn't any intention of taking someone's property without returning it. Um, it goes a little further past trespass to chattels, but in the tort of conversion, the interference is of such a substantial nature that the plaintiff is deprived of his property and the defendant converts the property to his own use. And so we see Pete didn't take any of his neighbor's property without the intentions of giving it back or um, trying to make the property his own. And so now I kind of understand why this one was incorrect, which is I thought in the first place that it wouldn't be correct, but of course I guessed at that time and I put it and it was wrong. But now I understand why for sure that wasn't the correct answer. Um, Taking someone else's property is not always conversion. Conversion is just one example of someone else's property being taken and not being returned to that intentionally not being returned. And in this case, or in this fact pattern, that was not the case. The second one probably so because Pete has trespassed onto the neighbor's land. Now that I'm reading this now, I really don't understand why I put this, but because Pete himself did not go onto his neighbor's land and take oranges to give to his giraffes, but the giraffes on their own went over the south border fence and took oranges from Pete's neighbor's grove. So Pete himself did not trespass onto the neighbor's land. I think for me, what I was looking at was anything that is on your property belongs to you. Um, Anything that's on your property is of yours. And so I guess I was kind of thinking, well, because it was Pete's giraffes, then, Pete couldn't technically be trespassing. But apparently that was incorrect. And yes, I know Pete on his own did not go and trespass. He did not go onto his neighbor's his yard physically. And so these probably souls were both incorrect. Now, probably not because Pete was legally authorized to keep giraffes on his property. Um, or probably not because Pete had no notice of the giraffe's conduct. Now, for me, I want to say that the answer is this one. And the reason why I say that is because for this last one, because he had no notice of the giraffe's conduct, um, just because someone doesn't notice or doesn't know something is wrong doesn't necessarily mean that it's not wrong because in the end it is still wrong. So for me, even though Pete had no notice of the giraffe's conduct, the giraffe that was on his property still went and took oranges off of another neighbor's property. And so the action still happened even though Pete had no notice of it. And so that's why I really don't believe that it's because he had no notice of his erratic conduct, but I could be wrong. If anyone wants to explain, I kind of got a little mixed up with this question. Probably not because Pete was legally authorized to keep giraffes on his property. I would say this was probably the answer because now the law and authorities know or have given him permission to keep such animals on his property, and they're not like domesticated animals. I believe I think that's what they're called. They're wild animals, and so they could at any point extend their long necks over anyone's yard and take anything and eat it. But because he has gotten a permit to rightfully use his land as a sanctuary, I would not necessarily think that his neighbor would have a cause of action against Pete. But again, like I said, I really don't know. I want to say that this is the correct answer. So if anyone can help me with this, anyone that got this correct, I would greatly appreciate it. And I hope this also helped anyone else who was having some troubles with this question.